Okay, girls, so the last chapter that we're going to cover in today's lesson is 6.7 dividing decimals. So we're going to start, our first section is going to be dividing a decimal by a whole number. So we're going to start right away with an example. In this type of problems, it's very important also to have numbers aligned and to use place values correctly. So I'm going to write an example here and I'm going to demonstrate how you do the division. Most of you have done this in primary school, so this should be revision. If you don't feel that this is your strength, please practice a lot of this procedure. So how do we do this? I'm going to do it here. So I'm going to write one digit per square in your grid, and I'm also leaving the decimal place in a square. Okay, divided by 4. Good. So I start here. How many times 4 goes into 2? It doesn't go, so I have to put a 0, and then because the decimal place is here, the decimal point, so I have to put the decimal point. This is going to be crazy. Okay, there you go. So because the decimal point is here, I have to put the decimal point also above. So be careful that these have to be completely aligned. Now I'm going to think, okay, 4, how many times 4 goes, and now I'm going to be focusing on 24. I'm going to be focusing on this. How many times 4 goes into 24? It goes 6 times. And I don't have any remainder. Then I say how many times 4 goes into 8? It goes twice. Then how many times 4 goes into 9? It goes 1 with a remainder of 1. And then how many times 4 goes into 16? It goes twice. Okay, so my answer here is going to be 0.6212. Wonderful. Now, I need to make a clarification. In this particular case, I end up without a remainder. But what happens if I go to this last one and I still haven't finished and I have a remainder? So you have to add zeros until you finish your division and you don't have more remainders. So let's look at an example like that one. So if you, let's say this example. So I'm going to do 21 and 76/100 divided by 5. Okay, so I do 21 and 76/100 divided by 5. So how many times 5 goes into 21? It goes 4, and I get a remainder of 1. I write here on top of the decimal point again. Then how many times 5 goes into 70? It goes 3 times, and I have a remainder of 2. The next, how many times 5 goes into 26? It goes 5. And I have a remainder of 1. So what do? I don't leave that 1 there, only because I'm after the decimal point, I can add a 0 and I'm not changing the number. Okay, because I'm after the decimal point, I can add a 0 and I'm changing the number. So how many times 5 goes into 10? It goes twice. Okay, girls? And then I have finished because I don't have more remainders, so I have finished my division. I hope you find this useful.